What's up, guys? My name is Tynan, and today I'm going to show you how to turn this plus this into something kind of like this. And this isn't, I still have to add the stickers, but you can see that we have what looks like a flash unit for the Sony NEX, and it actually has a 3.5mm audio in port. And the reason I did that is because the one thing that the NEX 5 has always been missing, in my opinion, has been this 3.5mm input. And so one day I just decided I would figure out if I could make it work or not, and it turns out it's not that difficult. So I'm going to show you how to take these two apart, how to solder the audio board in, and how to install this. And I'm not going to do every single step because I've already done some of them on mine, but I'm going to at least show you how to take these things apart, show you what to solder to what, and it should be more than enough for you to do this on your own. So this is the final product. I'm going to put it out of view for now. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take apart this microphone. Take off this little windscreen thing. I bought this because I thought it was going to have really good audio quality, and you know, I'm sure it's like a little bit better, but it was not really noticeable over the built-in microphone on the camera. So one night I thought, well, if I'm not using this thing anyway, I may as well take it apart and see if there's some way for me to, you know, hack into it and maybe combine it with one of these, or maybe put an audio port here or something. And turns out it was not that hard. So we'll take it apart, and I'll show you which pieces you need to keep and which don't matter. Now, there are better tools for it. What I'm using, I live in my RV, so I don't have that many tools. I'm using a very, very tiny screwdriver here, flathead. As you can see, it's bent from prying. And then just a Phillips head, also very small. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the bottom here, and you see these two black dots right there and there. And those are actually stickers, so we're just going to pry them up a little bit. Be a little bit tricky to get under the edge of them. There we go, got one. See, they're actually pretty thick. There we go, got two. You don't really need to keep those. You could, though. I'm going to set them aside, you know, just to make things look nice. You can see on this one I didn't use them. Anyway, we're going to take out these two screws here. There's one. There's two. And as you do this, you're going to find a lot of screws. These ones are a little bit longer than the other ones, or you know, there's two sides, the longer of the two, and I'm just going to stick them near those stickers to remember that. So now what we can do is we can pull this thing out and off like that. Now you definitely need to keep this. There's one on the flash, but it's a little bit different, and I think you could modify it pretty easily, but just to make life easier, we're going to keep that. I'm going to also put that over there. Now here's the connector. This thing you need to be very, very careful with. The soldering on it is very light, and so the reason I'm doing this again is because I actually broke too many of the connections on my old ones, and on my other one, and I broke it. So just be careful with that there. Next, we see these things here. These are stickers just like those black things. Pry those off. You're not going to need that again, so scuff it up if you have to. Come on. There we go, got one. Got a little trash pile over here. I'm just gonna put it over there, don't need that. Same with this one. Yeah, we're actually not gonna keep most, come on. There we go. We're not gonna keep most of the pieces from the microphone. There's very little we're gonna keep. Let's put that down. And same screwdriver, just unscrew that. We do not need to keep these screws. Now, I mean, I wouldn't throw them away right off the bat necessarily, because a lot of these screws are duplicated in various places, and you may find that you lose one of the ones you do need, one of the ones from the flash. But you know, I'm going to put them in a separate pile over here just so I don't confuse myself. that you can't see off camera. Alright, so now you can see this whole thing's kind of loose, right? I think the next piece we take off is this front piece here. It says Sony. I'm just going to kind of, is that not right? It's funny, I forget which piece comes off next. Oh, well, there goes that piece. So when I spread these two things apart, these two things came off. I believe we do not need this piece, but we do need this piece. Actually, you know, there's a duplicate in here, but just in case, we'll keep that because that goes with that. So let's see. So now I think we've got to pop off this front piece. There we go. So you just kind of pull that up. I didn't do it in a very clean way. We do not need to keep that, so I'm going to throw that away. So now you can see that this is one of the pieces we do keep. This is the connector that goes from the camera to the microphone board. And on my last one, I broke some of these connections here, and so you don't want to do that. We can't quite take this thing off yet, but pretty soon we'll be able to. I think we now pull this. Oh yeah, that's right. So now we're going to pop off this switch, which we will not need in the future, so you can throw that away. Now I think we should be able to slide this back piece off with a little bit of force. It's okay to force all these parts because you're not going to need any of them. I feel like I'm taking apart a lobster or something. Oh, no, just broke my screwdriver. That's too bad. Well, so there we go. So I pried off this front piece here. Oops. Don't need that. Get rid of it. I can take off this thing, and we're actually going to break this grounding connection. Doesn't matter. Don't need it. Now, how do we get this back piece off here? Try prying this back thing again where I broke that screwdriver. There we go. So there's a little detente that once you get it past, it's easy to get off. So you know, pull that off. Put that over there. You don't need it. So now it's actually kind of interesting. You know, I'll show you this just in case you aren't actually taking yours apart. The way the microphone works, it has a front microphone here, and it's actually all in rubber bands, which is kind of, you know, better quality than I expected, to be honest with you. So we have, you know, the microphone in the front here, and then we have one that's perpendicular to it here. And my guess is that what's going on is it somehow records how loud sound is coming from this side, and that's how it makes the stereo. But unfortunately, instead of having two mics that are like this, where we could just take one as the left channel, one as the right channel, I don't know, I think there's some sort of magic going on there that I don't understand. Anyway, we'll continue to get these side things off. Just two screws. We do not need to keep these screws. There we go. 1 and 2. So we don't need those. Take these little side pieces off. Don't need those. So now I'm going to actually pull this connector out because this is a very important connector and I just don't want to mess it up. And so just kind of gently massage it. There it is. This we definitely do need. Don't lose that. So now we have this microphone, and really the only piece of this we need is this board inside. And so we're going to pry open this plastic thing here like that. And in the process of doing that, we're going to end up breaking it up here. It has this little kind of thing there, sticker. All right, you can just break that sticker off, doesn't matter. Pull these little rubber bands off. There we go, there's one. Let's get that. 2. Actually, I should just use scissors because I'm not keeping this anyway. 3. and 4 right there. Now we're going to, there's 1 screw on this board, we're going to unscrew that. Don't need to keep that screw, throw it away. Pull this board out, get rid of this plastic piece. So here's what we're left with. Now, you have 2 choices. Well, first of all, we don't need this, so I'm just going to kind of wiggle the solder until it comes off. Done. That was a grounding cable. Don't need this piece of foam or that little cap that was on that switch. So we've gotten this board. This is the piece that we need, and I'm going to flash forward in a minute and show you a finished one because I'm really bad at soldering, and you probably end up doing a better job yourself than watching me. Take this little thing off. Don't really need it. So now what we have is we have board with a switch, socket, and some wires coming off of it. Now, the wires that you're going to use are this black one and the white one that are all the way towards the switch end. And those are the microphone inputs. So what you're going to do is you're going to connect those to a microphone socket. And what I did is I pulled all these wires off, so they come off really easy, like that. I pulled them all off, and then I just resoldered those 2. What you may consider doing instead of that is keeping the wires on if you can and just cutting them very close to the microphone, because they're actually quite long. They actually go all the way down to here. You could pull them off that gunk, pull them out of there, etc. So now you've got these 2 nice long black and white wires, and I would just solder that end to the connector. And let me show you a connector real quick that I bought at Radio Shack. Just a 3.5 millimeter. It's actually a stereo one. I don't think they sold mono ones. And what I did is I just yanked out one of these things, one of these connectors. So I just had 2, because it's mono. And so what I would probably do if I were you is I would take the black and the white that are going to this front microphone, solder one here, and just be very careful. And what I did on mine after I resoldered these wires is I covered it in some super glue just to give it a little bit of strength. And I recommend doing that, and actually you may even want to do that in some other places, like on this guy here. So anyway, this is the connector you're going to buy from Radio Shack. I think any Radio Shack will have them, and if you don't have exactly this, something similar will work. So that's that. So you can pull out all of them except the black and the white ones, run those to that connector, and that's how you're going to get your audio in. Now the one other thing you're probably going to want to do is get rid of this switch because it's rather big. So you desolder that, and that sounds really scary, but look, I'm really bad at soldering. It's not tough at all. What you do is you apply a soldering iron to these contacts back here and just kind of pinch this like this and pull up on it. And as that solder melts, it'll start shifting outwards, and it takes a little while. Like your fingers get hot, you have to stop, you do it again. Take you 1 or 2 minutes, and then you'll pull this off. I'm not sure if it needs to be switched or not. I didn't really mess with it too much. What I did is I just connected these 2 here, the middle one and the 90. So it would always be in 90-degree mode because I figured that is what's supposed to go to the front mic anyway. So that's all you need to do with the microphone. As you can see, all we've really kept of it is this here, this cable, 2 screws, and these connectors. So I'll show you now the one that I've completed. Alright, so here's the one. So here's the one that we're working on. Here's the one I completed. You can see here this is the cable here. You can see this one's just destroyed. I'm going to pull that off. I tried some other experiments first that didn't work, and in the process just destroyed it. So anyway, put them next to each other in the same way. So you can see it's a little messy here where there's glue, but that's actually a good thing. It's kind of keeping it safe. Then you can see I've taken this off, and just those 2 there, I used different color wire, but I used where the black and white were, I soldered in. So we're done with this one now. You can do that part on your own, because you don't want to watch me solder, believe me. Throw that away. And put that aside. And now we're going to take apart the flash. Alright, so unfortunately the camera died in the middle of me taking apart this flash, but I'm going to show you the quick bits of it here. So, used to have this and this. So just like the microphone, you unscrew the bottom of this, take it off, this thing kind of pulls off. These things here, this is what the side panel looked like. It's this piece of plastic and it just sticks on. There's adhesive there. And so what you do is you pry those off, and then you take off the 4 black screws. One there, one there, one there, one there. And that lets you pull off the top piece. Now, you don't want to mess with all this metal stuff here. This is for oops, oh, this is okay. This like metal locking action. You want to keep that. And you're going to pull out, this is the whole flash assembly. I destroyed it in the video that didn't actually record. You know, the capacitor used to be like this, and it was in there. You can just pull it out, it doesn't matter, just destroy that. But the piece you do want to keep is this little plastic. It's not 100% necessary, but it'll help make it waterproof, or water resistant anyway. And the way this goes in later is at this weird angle like that. That took me a while to figure out after I took it apart the first time. And so, pretty easy taking that whole thing apart. You don't keep much. You keep those 4 screws, those 2 things, and then of course all the main plastic bits, this backing piece, this piece here. So let me show you what it looks like when it's all taken apart. I'll show you the one I've already made. And that's here. So you can see it looks pretty much the same. It's got the metal. The difference is when you put this back together, I've drilled a hole here. And so you can kind of see from mine where the position is. It's basically right in the middle vertically. And then the best way to figure out where it should be left and right is to take that, take this audio jack and just kind of stick it in there. You know, well, I guess you won't have the hole, so you just stick it behind here and you can kind of see exactly where it should be. I found it pretty easy to drill that hole. So that goes in there. Actually, I'll show you the one I finished. Here it is. Just be careful with it. So this goes in like that. That goes in just like that. See, there's like a notch there that kind of fits in. And then plug this connector back in, run it through one of these side pieces here. And then it's just a matter of reconstructing it, putting it in through this. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'll show you the finished product. You don't have to watch every little step of the way.